Welcome to another episode of Coffee Conversation, powered by Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, the Emerging India Forum TEIF, and India Business Group, Chamber of Commerce. So I welcome you all, and I hope that we'll have an engaging and an interesting conversation today. And today's theme is Stree Shakti, that is empowering women within you and around you. And today we have with us Sejal Shah, ma'am, who is an inspiration to the women entrepreneurship success story that you'll never believe what she has with us to enlighten us with today. So she's the proprietor of Preesh Uniforms, and today's host for this conversation are Mr. Mansoor Thakral sir and I myself Khushbhu Kharbanda. So without wasting any much time further, let's begin with today's series, that is my profession, my growth and my business. Over to you, Mansoor sir.
Thank you, Khushbhu. Right. Welcome, Sejal ma'am, on the Coffee Conversations. All right. So before we begin today's session, ma'am, we would like to know a little bit more about yourself on the terms of your educational background and a little bit more about yourself, if you could.
Okay, so I finished my BSc DMLT. I've
Okay.
actually done professional biochemistry.
Mhm.
And then I did MLT and I was working in Prince Ali Khan Hospital and Dr. Fadke's. And that was a totally new experience for me since I was more keen towards business. So working under somebody was not for me, not my cup
Okay.
of tea about me. And yes, from day one, I was very inclined towards business. Being from a good Jew family, it was more towards business than working for somebody else. So when I started with M10 uniforms, the whole criteria was that you would head the whole school uniform section, and I
Right.
would look at taping and this uniforms.
Okay. So, ma'am, we want to know, when did you start Parish Uniforms? Because like whenever we check out your LinkedIn page or Instagram, it's always Parish Uniforms. So can you please give us a little bit insights exactly like what Parish Uniforms is and why did you select the theme of going into like uniforms?
Okay, so I have more than 2 decades of your experience into uniforms. So now
Right.
this was end for me just to start off with uniforms again. I started
Mhm.
2017 and around April I started because my dad passed away in 2014 and he said, you've got to do something of your own now. So these were his last words which took me on. And that's how I
Okay.
started. So when I started this, I was with no experience at all, I can say. Zero experience. I was just managing schools in the forefront, managing
Mhm.
their partnerships and all that, but I was never into manufacturing. So for me to get into that whole cycle was a thought provoking. How could I do it? And once I went into it, nothing made me go back for it.
Right.
That's me.
But why did you specifically like in textiles ended up like going into uniforms? Was there any particular reason for that part?
See, when my son was studying, he was small. So my friend offered me this that you head the school uniform department and we can take it on from there. So
Mhm.
then for me, business was just like a cup of tea. So I just started it. Okay, now you are on the back front, I am on the forefront. And that's how we started it. And
Okay.
we, from one school, we went on to more than 100 schools. So that's how we began. We and I began it as a part-time, only morning since my son was going to St. Mary's School. So it was prep was only for morning times. So I began it that way and then I took it on full fledgedly.
Okay. So, ma'am, like, which other like uniforms do you cater? It's only for school uniforms, or you cater to other industries as well?
I cater to schools and corporates. I have got quite a bit of corporates also.
Mm-hmm.
This year I get into catering forms. Now that I've settled down with schools and corporates, now I'm putting my this into catering uniforms. So that's going
Okay.
to be a for me.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, do like now where do you think like the textile industry in India is heading to? What would be your take on it?
See, when we are looking at textiles as a whole, fashion
Mm-hmm.
is the most thing of any person in today's mind. When you
Right.
talk about the kid, or be it an adult, or be it even an old man for them, they will make sure that their clothes are pristine and they are very well dressed, and that appearance matters everything. So the textile industry is always on a boom. It will all depend on what sort of fabrics are being given, but the textile industry is always on a boom because people may not spend on other items, but they will definitely spend on their clothes to look well dressed.
All right. So, ma'am, we wanted to know one more thing. Like now, obviously, you're into the business for so many years. When it comes to the sourcing of products and the raw material, what are the main USPs and where do you source your raw materials from?
See, my main USPs is, first of all, I keep the stock ready. So
Okay.
when I have fabric not only for this year, I will plan it even for the next half year. So
Okay.
if there is any backlog, I have that stock, take it and
All right.
like
So, like you fill up your inventory before only and you keep it.
or it is
Yeah, you can.
before US
Okay.
things ke baba ye kab milega karke. This year, due to pandemic, there was a little issues because of the fabric not being sourced and all. Even what I had, that got over very fast because after 2 years, school started. So, yes, but everything's now in properly in space. And as I said, I have in-house fabric ready with me that any parent comes and walks in, it can be made within a week and give it to them. So that's my main. Parents don't have to go. Today they've taken it in school, tomorrow they'll be in a uniform. That's my this, that I will make sure that the child is not without a uniform. Because even if the child is without a uniform, they feel so odd in school, they will not want to go to school saying that they look the odd one out. Unless they into the public, it does not help.
Definitely. And so when we talk about like sourcing your products, so which state are you like sourcing it from India, or are you like sourcing it from abroad for your particular material?
Nothing is abroad. Everything is Indian. Everything is local.
Okay.
My fabric, the shootings come in from Bhiwandi. My t-shirts and track pants come in from Coimbatore. Belts come in from Ludhiana. Means there are different things where I source the whole thing. Shoes come in from Delhi. So everything is sourced and get at one point on the table for the parents so that they can just come in at one go and pick it up. Like as you are asking, what is the USP? The parents should get their whole kit on the table at the moment. That is good.
All right. So like basically you're into the whole local stuff. You don't you're not outsourcing it from abroad at all. Not at all.
You don't need it.
Definitely. And okay, so ma'am, like when we talk about, like as you spoke, when COVID hit and things happened, how were you able to cope and survive? How this business was able to survive during those times?
See, basically, there was no business during COVID.
Okay.
As I said, my only strong point was just lay back and whatever.
Wait for the storm to pass.
That's it. Nothing, and just make sure that my staff was taken care of, so they do not have any problems. That was my only lookout. I did not look else beyond that because there was zero business. Would be the point.
But during that time when the pandemic was on, I suppose you maybe had a lot of stock material and raw material, obviously like kept in your storehouses and everything. So how were you able to like save it, like that they don't get spoiled and everything? What were your steps that you had taken for that point?
Basically, any uniform of mine has a life shelf of around 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
So for years was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That stock, managing that stock was not at all an issue. I could keep it very well, and everything was in my godowns, in my storehouses, and my shops. So it was not hit that badly, honestly. Except for shoes which I had to go, those deteriorated. Except for that item, nothing else deteriorated.
Okay. And so when we want to know one more thing on this. When we talk about textiles, so like this is the personal thing what I would really like want to like you're obviously an industrial expert in this. So a few, like they say, a certain kind of fabrics or a certain kind of textiles, what we have, get ruined with dust coming on them, and like they get wet and everything. So what are the security or that measures that have been taken? Your voice is cracking, ma'am. We can't hear you.
All my fabrics are antivirus treated and anti-stain. So usually I problem all these things, because in school uniforms, if we see, I understand that the costing at first point may be high, but when they're using it for 3 to 4 years down the lane, not even half the point of what they were looking at.
Okay.
So, major thing, I never had any such issue, fabric problem. None of my fabric, वो बोलते हैं ना, आता है, ये होता है, nothing happened.
देखो कभी कभार कैसा हो जाता है ना मैम, लाइक जितने लाइक लोगों से मिला हूँ जो लाइक बेसिकली जो टी शर्ट्स और सब बनवाते हैं ना, तो वो लोग का अलग अलग मटेरियल रहता है, वो अलग जीएसएम्स रहता है उसके अंदर। तो लाइक हमेशा कैसे हो जाता है कि दे टेल मी ना, इंसेक्ट्स आ गए, गीला हो गया, ये हो गया एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ।
Lesser quantity.
Yes. Ma'am, can you just come a little bit closer to your mic? You were not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, audible now. Yes.
Yeah. I said that usually, when you use a lower quality GSM, these are problems. When you are using a standard quality and a standard this, you never have a problem. I did have a problem with a red color which ran onto the white color, but after washing it all went off. So there was no other major issues like that. It only happened during the pandemic. 2 years it was kept closed.
So, but ma'am, in this we would like to the people who are like watching this and when it gets uploaded in the YouTube, there's one more part where you have something where you dye the material and you have that. So how does that work in the industry? Like you just said, red came onto white. So do you all separate the materials? How does that function, ma'am?
Yeah, when you are dyeing the material, separate colors are dyed separately, and then they are stitched. And before that, they are analyzed and checked whether the color runs or whether any problems are occurring with that fabric. So all high quality testings are done with my fabrics before I go into production. So that's a very important factor for uniform. And if you have heard about uniforms, usually first I would say was M10 uniforms, and then it came with me. So we both use the same material, same fabrics, same things. Only names are different now.
Right. So since you have removed the topic of M10, we obviously noticed that you were a CEO at M10. So can you please elaborate a little bit about your journey with M10, what exactly it was and how it has played a big part in your life?
Yeah, see, when I started with M10, as I told you, it was a part-time thing. I was just like engaging schools and getting the orders and all that. But since I started getting involved, I started seeing parents coming to the store. And when they used to make the children wear the uniform, that happiness on their face, that satisfaction, okay, perfect bed gaya hai. So that slowly involved me into the school, uniform departments. And that is how I became more and more attached and more into this uniform thing. Because uniforms, if you notice, parents will buy it once a year. But when they buy it, they make sure that पूरा साल चलना चाहिए.
Right.
भले वो लोग 50 कपड़े दूसरे लेते होंगे, पर यूनिफॉर्म में तो 5 रुपए की मगजमारी करनी है.
वो तो है. वो तो ना one time investment हो जाता है.
वो स्कूल का compulsion item है ना.
Yeah.
So that is the place where they would like to bargain, but they don't realize in bargaining, 8 hours their child is wearing that uniform the whole day in the school. After that, even when they are home, immediately do not change into their clothes. They are wearing that uniform and keeping it on, going for classes, going for whatever. So actually, if you see, they are more in their uniforms than the casual clothes. But parents don't, and they want the quality of the uniform, chalega koi bhi hoga. But uniform sasta hona chahiye. That's what I look at.
नहीं एक्चुअली कैसा है, मुझे मेरे स्कूल टाइम की याद आ गई. तो लाइक कैसा होता था, माय मॉम यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज बी लाइक, वी यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज गेट 2 sets of uniforms. So I basically come from Bandra, St. Stanislaus High School. So हम लोग का कैसा होता था, white shirt होता था and you have this grey pants. Yes. So what used to happen, I remember like during my school times, I used to like, जैसे घर पे आ गया तो I used to sit with that only. And I used to always get my mother behind me with a slipper, like, निकालो कपड़े, कपड़े पहनो, ये करो, खराब हो जाएगी, and everything. And then I always remember, like, since you're regarding that, my mom used to always tell me, and when I used to go for shopping, She used to always say that, whenever she used to bargain with that uniform person who makes it and all that, my mom used to always say, "Paisa extra le lo, problem nahi, quality acha do."
Actually, nowadays the public has become aware of the quality more than this. So automatically it becomes easier for us also when we are giving a quality product to sell it at a price that we are looking at. It
Right.
does not, because even the parents have now become aware now. Like I have high-end parents also and I have low-end parents also. High-end parents will not even talk about how much is the uniform for. Low-end parents की जगह पे एक दे दो पर अच्छा दे दो. Look, they can use it every day in and out. So that is this. But as of now, I have not had these issues about quality up till now. Touch wood.
You're providing world-class material, ma'am. So why would you even have problem?
I'm not having it. So honestly speaking, I'm not having it.
Okay, ma'am. So so when we want to know a little bit about your journey, your professional journey. So what are the ups and downs you have faced, whether it was from M10 to Umesh? I'm sorry, Paresh.
Preesh, yes.
Yeah.
In M10, as I said, that I was totally heading the whole school uniform department.
Yes.
Because we made ourselves clear that you head the catering and the corporate department, I will head the school uniforms. So it was a very drawn line. Okay, this is my field, your field. You should not enter this. Only for manufacturing, तुमको देखना है. मेरे को जो चाहिए वो मिलना चाहिए टेबल पे. That was my look. And that's how we started. And slowly we kept on adding schools. And as I said, we went on to more than 100 schools. Suddenly, one day, my dad said, Sejal, so many years you've been doing, you don't have something of your own. Now you should have something of your own. And that is the day that I decided to go on to Preesh Uniforms. I began with one school, Fazlani La Academy Global. I just began with that one school. And after that, I had one Mrs. Asha Narayan, who was the principal of Lodha World School. Suddenly, I received a call, Sejal, what are you doing nowadays? I said, ma'am, I'm not doing anything and I'm looking at working again. So she said, okay, come and meet me. And that's how I again began my journey. And thanks to her, I am where I am today. Yes. Because Lodha expanded quite well. It has got more than 7 schools now. So I started with only Lodha World School, Thane, went on to Palava, Lakeshore Green, Taloja. It means quite a bit of schools came in there. And then I have all the Pawar Publics with me. It means all 4 branches are with me. So, भले slowly जाना है, अच्छे से जाना है.
नहीं, that's right.
It makes sense now. Why jump into the bandwagon? इसको मिला तो हम भी करें, वो मिले. ठीक है.
नहीं, सही बात है.
Criteria. My main thing was always satisfaction of parents. That was my major, because as I said, money, my husband's earning, my son's earning. So that was never a criteria. And when you asked me during COVID times, they were the ones who took care of everything. So I could survive that period. Otherwise, I've seen many people shutting down their shop at this time.
Yeah, sure.
Many. And it's really bad to look at that when they have struggled and they've come to a phase and then you have to close. And school uniforms was the worst hit. Worst hit sector, I would say, because children were not allowed to go to school. Uniforms were not needed, was not necessary. So everything was yes. But after 2 years, we've picked up pretty well. That's what I would say.
So once the pandemic got over, ma'am, okay, and when school started, so how is the outward over there? Did you have people rushing in, uniform banao and everything like that? So how was the time after COVID?
I already had a stock of the uniforms. So for me, it's not a major hassle.
Yeah.
Just the pandemic occurred just when the schools were beginning. Like 16th of March, the schools was beginning. 19th March and 16th March, the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So, मेरा पूरा stock ready था. Just ready to go. And that was like a major setback for me. Because सबका लिया हुआ था, सबको देने का था. But thanks to my vendors, thanks to my people, I'll tell you, they've all waited patiently. And they all knew that ये कहीं जाने वाला नहीं है. आएगा. भले late आएगा. So they all waited patiently and I was able to go around the whole thing. So nothing major happened on that end.
Definitely. Ma'am, if you would like to say, who has been that role model in your life, that has been there with you, or who you looked up to all your life before like starting this business and everything? Who's that one person?
My dad.
Okay.
My dad used to run, he was the vice principal of a school. He used to run a coaching class in Masgon. And yes, he was one role person that he would never get angry. Kuch bhi ho jata, शांति से बात करता था. So that was one role person I would always imagine. Arey Baba, how can he do this? इतना क्यों गुस्सा नहीं आता है? So that was one. Where studies was concerned, he was very angry. But otherwise, I have never seen him angry. So he was my role model for everything. Keep your cool, keep your thing, and keep doing. You will receive one day what you need. That was his always mantra. कि करते रहो, tension नहीं लेने का, गलत है, सही है, करते रहो, बस.
Definitely. Okay, ma'am, as we're in August and since we like just celebrated Independence Day, so as we have Azadi Ka Maha Utsav, what does freedom mean to you?
See, freedom, azadi, what you would say, means to be free from one's own fears and doubts and be able to go ahead and plow ahead in the world where you think that nothing is possible. Just go on. I bet you nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible in this world, I would say. And once you put your heart to it, you can definitely attain it.
Definitely, ma'am.
All your thoughts, doubts.
Yes. Right.
That's
all right. That's a good, really deep and insightful message that you have given over there. Ma'am, just one more point we want to put out here. So when like as a professional, so this is a question what is coming from my side, which I'm really like want to ask you. So when you started your professional journey, like already you had your dad and everyone besides you and all that. So with that, caring with your personal family and, being a homemaker and everything, how did you manage it?
No, I began my professional journey when I was in F5 BSc.
Okay. All right.
I began that because that time was, my mom and dad had bought a tempo for their school.
Okay.
So I said, Mom, why do you want to leave it around? And I got school to get into all the orders and all. So then my dad became angry on me. Instead of studying her more into business, let's just sell off this. So that's the time I began my professional journey, I would say.
So they sold the tempo or they kept the tempo?
They sold it.
They sold it. Okay.
They said, we don't want you getting into all this. It's better you concentrate on your studies. So SYBSC 2 साल किया, तीसरे साल मैं आया, निकाल दिया उन्होंने. Concentrate. ऐसा था उन लोग. So yes, so my professional journey actually began with that idea in head that I wanted to do something by myself for the community, for the people, where not only I myself am satisfied, even the opposite person gets satisfied with whatever work I am doing. Like as I told you in uniforms, if you see, when you see the happiness on that parent's face, trust me, that एक होता है कि हाँ बहुत बड़ा काम करके दिया है.
बिल्कुल खुशी मिल गई.
हाँ, मिल गया. ऐसे हो जाता है. So yeah.
All right. What would be your message to any woman entrepreneur who's right now managing her family and who's dreaming about starting her business or who's going to start her business? What would be those few points that you would want to tell her?
My first thing would be learn to listen to yourself.
Okay.
You want to do it, you can do it. How to do it is another question, how you can go about it. If you are like in the family, a joint family, and you want to do it, you first have to gain the trust of the people in your family and then go ahead with doing it. It's never been a cakewalk. As in my case, my husband has been my backup. He's always told me, you go ahead, you do. मैं इधर हूँ ना, बच्चे लोग को संभाल लूँगा. So that has been a very major this for me. Like, and if you notice, there are very few, or I would say negligible women in the industry of school uniforms and uniforms. They are there, but they will be with somebody else, joint or whatever. But by themselves, on their own. Not a single woman in this. In India, I can say who's doing this business by themselves. And I take that pride, I can do it. Yes. So women, just care of anything, take your goal, keep it in mind, and go ahead. You are definitely going to attain it. There is nothing to stop you. That's my major, this to females. Do not get.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Because
yeah.
What I
Your voice is cracking, man. Just come a little bit closer to the mic. You're not audible.
was for me 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I would get scared. ये क्या बोलेंगे, ये क्या होगा, कैसे
लोग क्या
निकलेंगे,
कहेंगे basically.
लोग क्या. And then I realized, to hell with what people want to say. It's what you want to do matters. And automatically people will change their opinion.
There's that saying, na, लोगों का काम है कहना. They just keep saying what they have to
लोगों
do.
का काम है कहना, yes. Yes.
Definitely.
So for me, logo ka kaam hai कहना also means in uniforms. Logo will tell you what it is actually.
Right.
Yes.
So ma'am, like when we, so after like the professional journey entering, and then you said your husband has been your support. So when you eventually when you gave birth to your son and everything, so was your husband looking after the kids, or were you also deeply involved in it?
I had in-laws who would look after my kids, both were working. Okay, till my son at St. Mary's, I'm saying I did not do any work. I was a housewife, complete housewife. और तभी वही सोच तभी क्या कर सकती हूँ मैं. So that was always in my this backlog. What can I do? And even when I was at home, I would, put up exhibitions, make bed sheets and all that. Means I was never this ke kuch nahi. So once my son started school, my husband said, it's okay, you go ahead. If anything, mom is at home, she will look after the boy. So once that all started in and everything started settling in. So I was never alone in this journey. Never alone, I would say.
When we talk about like uniforms,
It was a surprise. She came in 15 years after my son.
Okay.
So it was like at square one. Now, what should I do? Should I leave my work or should I? No. But luckily, we got help also for her. We got my in-laws at home who were looking after her, and I could do my work. So they were amazing for me. Because usually 15 years, it was a very tough decision for me to whether to go ahead with my daughter, keep her or not keep her. So, but now I'm very happy that I have taken a stand on keeping her. And as I say, daughters are blessing in disguise. Because son to chala gaya US.
Well, okay. So moving on to the questions. When we talk about like uniforms as textiles, so how do you when you talk about this industry, okay? Like we have advertisements, we have people going into different business groups and all that. How does one person advertise or tell people about their product? Have you gone through any such phase where you have joined any kind of a business group?
Logo ka kaam hai.
Yeah.
So you can. So actually, uniforms is a very niche market.
Right.
Okay, and it is very less. So once in a year, he nikalta hai uska requirement. So that is the time you should know on when to hit upon the nail, and you should get your work done. Because that is, and once a uniform is suggested, decided, designed, it is there for another 10 years. You don't need to worry then. So that is the time you need to just little work hard comes in there. But yes, otherwise nothing.
Right. So I like you were just telling us about you used to do exhibitions and everything on that end. So we're how are the exhibitions been for you? What is that particular part of your journey been? When you said that you were doing exhibitions and all that. Yeah.
Yes. When you say exhibitions, I was doing it pre-job, pre my work. So those exhibitions, all of dresses and all that. But yes, we have done exhibitions of uniforms also when I was at Hampton. We had more than 400 uniforms designed and put on show. in the exhibition where the parents could select or the caterer could select and choose whichever designs they want. The color combinations were given separately. You could choose and decide and mix and match and do what you want. So uniform is a very vast field, actually. It's a very vast field. Now, uniforms, when we say uniforms, when you enter any retail store, how do you know what you want? Whom will you catch hold of? You will definitely look for somebody in the uniform.
Obviously.
So that is the importance of uniforms. Though people do not give it importance, it is a very important part of our life. You enter a lift, security hota hai, uniform pehne dekhe, you don't even look. He's in a uniform, that's what matters to you. You will not look at him twice also. Kaun hai, kya hai, bas nikal gaye. So that is one way of saying that you are, stress-free. Because you know that this person is working with that firm and that firm is responsible for that person. So you don't need to go into the details of ye kya hai, kaun hai, kaisa hai. You don't need to see anything. Like even if you go to Chroma, you can make out people because of their red t-shirt.
Right.
So that is how uniforms are an important part of our everyday life, I would say. People have not given it that much importance and value, but slowly it is arising.
It's getting there.
Yes, it is getting there. It is definitely.
Right.
So even in schools, they are coming in with brands of uniforms. Now,
Okay.
brands of, when we say that child's name is written on each and every uniform, everything detailing is giving. So that also began with us, I would say, when I was at Okay, so a school said that, see, our parents usually travel to Singapore and Bangkok and all, and every day somebody has a new bag, new pencil pouch. So we want to do away with all this. That is the time we designed their school bags with the name, with the logo and everything of the school. Similarly, we designed their pencil pouches, we designed name tags for them. So everything could be labeled so that the child cannot say, my this uniform went to that child. Because the school had swimming, it had cricket, it had hockey, means n number of activities. So on everything, when they are changing their uniforms, it will get mixed.
Okay.
So brand was created by us. The uniform should have a brand. That way.
So currently in the market, like, ma'am, how is the competition going on? Like you just said, like brands are coming in, things are coming. So what is the competition like?
It's very high. It's very high. The competition, as I would place it, is that it's at its peak right now, because people have become aware of this, and now they are also trying to get on the bandwagon. Ke chalo bhai, ye cheez mein to kamane ko mil jayega. But they don't understand the importance of that point and what fabrics are needed. I have seen many people, they just get into it. Uniforms है ना, कुछ बड़ी बात नहीं है, बना के दे देंगे. पर बनाने के बाद जो उसका sales है, after sales, that is an important point. उनको कुछ भी problem हुआ, कुछ भी हुआ, तो you have to attend it. There should not be pilling, there should not be color running, there should not be stitching problems, there should not be so many issues coming at it. So those all are looked into us, so we usually don't have to worry about all these issues. So ऐसे चलता है.
All right, ma'am. So that comes to my end of the professional journey. I would like to now invite Khushbhu. She'll be coming in for having the personal journey. She'll be asking the questions about personal journey. Khushbhu, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? And is my video visible?
Your video is not visible. One second. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Just a minute. I hope you had an engaging conversation with Mansoor, sir.
Yes, engaging.
So, ma'am, apart from your professional life, I just will move forward with the second phase of the questions that's related to the personal life of yours. So, after like being a lady and working so much and managing household and professional life, so how it has been overall for you? And then how do you balance that? And then how do you like to spend your free time if you get so?
See, as I told her, it was very difficult because in a joint family, बहू अच्छा ही खाना चाहिए, बहू ही होनी चाहिए सब जगह पे. So that was a very major thing to get over, that idea and that concept for them. Ki, Baba, it does not matter who serves you. As long as the food is cooked by me, anybody can serve it to you. So it began with all small, ki, thoda karke. Then I could convince them and we could go ahead in life. That is one point. I'm sorry, what did you ask about the second one?
So, like, how do you balance out then your professional and personal life?
See, now that I'm all set, no, it doesn't make major of a issue. Like after 6:37, I'm at home. In the morning,
Okay.
for 10. So now that I'm all set, it does not make a major difference to me. Earlier, yes, I would start in the morning at 7 until night, 10 o'clock, I would go on. And as I told you, that time it was my husband who supported me. And he said, you don't worry, you just look into your work, get it done. But as we say, this was a periodic time. Means usually a June month or a May month or a April month would be the months where we were literally running in circles. Otherwise, throughout the year, I was very relaxed. Go at my time, come at my time. It was that way.
So now that you have been able to create a demarcation of personal and professional life. So whenever you get your free time, how do you like to spend that?
See, usually I like to visit places around in India, especially because I've seen that India has a beautiful culture. Even though I've been abroad, more than abroad, I feel India has a much diversified beautiful culture. I've seen
It is in
a lot. We may say that US jaka hai, UK jaka hai, but kya hai? When you see Indian places, this US UK is nothing, I would say.
So what
Udhar,
has been your favorite destination by now?
I have visited quite a lot of destinations by now in India. From Kulu Manali to any place you can name it, and most of them I've visited. Now that I'm looking at it, HP, Himachal Pradesh.
Himachal Pradesh. Okay.
I mean,
That's amazing. And it's very pretty.
Manali,
So you're a mountain
I'm
person
looking.
basically. Ma'am, your voice is breaking in between.
I said in Himachal Pradesh, I've been to Kulu Manali and all, but I'm looking at Spiti and places like those now, where it's trekking and giving time to yourself and all those things.
Peace time.
Peace time, yes.
That's nice. So, and in that free time, is there any particular hobby that you follow that you like to do?
Yes, my hobbies usually dwell on what is impossible to achieve and how to get it done. That is my main कि इसको कैसे अपन scale कर सकते हैं, possible to do it.
Upskilling.
Yes, that is one. Second is reading. I love to read. I read as many books as possible, as many things as possible. And nowadays movies.
So basically you are a bookworm.
Yes, I am a bookworm. I can read a book in one day. Be it a
Oh my God.
400.
So you have been like that since your school life.
Since my school life. Yes, I loved books from then.
So
In fact, my
student,
would get Madam
as a student, yes. So, ma'am, as a student, were you a front bencher or a back bencher?
a backbencher. Never a front.
Bencher.
Yes, I would always look how I can scrape through this year.
So I'm like, from my observation, that means you have a dynamic personality, one who is being a all-rounder, studying a bookworm, but chilling at the same time at her own pace.
Yes, I love to. I don't want to be shown as somebody who's big and wants to get things done and all that. No, I like to have my own me time, all those things.
So, do you have any such memories or funny incident that happened in school that you did as a kid?
I don't think we should be discussing this. I had pranked the
No, we would actually love to know that.
no, I had pranked the headmistress of the school. She was very coaches, And I got a dummy cockroach and I kept it in the book and I gave her to look at my marks. And the way she jumped, that still is a vivid memory for me.
Oh my God.
So don't ask me. I'm a bad student, you can say.
So you have many such stories, I guess.
Many. School bell would ring. I would climb the roof and get into the class, and many such stories.
Oh my God.
Even in college, I would sit on the last bench. So the moment attendance is done, I can just sneak out.
From the back.
Yeah. So for me,
So, I guess वो memories भी जरूरी होते हैं, because when you look back, those are the days that you cherish and remember.
yes,
That's
I realized what was needed and what was not needed at a time in life. Though I must have realized that all these mischiefs, but it would have been better if it would have stayed back. So those are the things make you, want it also and not want it also, that way.
there's always mixed feelings about those. So, ma'am,
Yes.
after like graduation, so what was your basically first job that you did?
I did my DMLT and I did a job at Prince Ali Khan, a hospital here in Mascon. And then I worked with Dr. Fadkes. And then I was married. So for 4
Okay.
years now, after that, I again became uniforms.
Okay. So after taking that time gap and then establishing yourself and that you're entirely self-made now, being a woman, that's a complete different struggle, even in this modern era. So how do you like describe that period of yours, that struggle journey? How that has been? Or was there any such moment where you really felt that you will be giving up?
I think today we're having a lot of network issues. A lot
Yeah.
of network issues. All right. So I'll never mind till she comes in. I'll continue the remaining parts of it. Okay.
Sure.
So if you could give us any 2 happy moments of your life.
2 happy moments.
Yeah, 2
happy
happy
moment.
moments.
First, bagged my project on my own.
Okay.
That was a very satisfying and something that couldn't be done moment for me. And
All
yes,
right.
first time my mother. Those were the 2 happiest moments of my life.
Okay. If you, what are your retirement plans? Like once you're done with everything, what is your retirement plan? If you have to ask you.
I do not have any retirement plans.
Okay.
At all, I will be training my people to take my legacy forward, and I will take the back this. So I absolutely have no ideas of retirements. Maximum is I may go to my son for some days and enjoy, and that it's, but no retirement plans.
Okay. And is there anything that way that you're missing out in life or you want to do? Is like बोलते हैं कि मन की ख्वाहिश है कुछ करने के लिए. So what is that 1 or 2 things that you're waiting to do in life?
1 or 2 things that I'm waiting to do in life.
Yes.
Nothing really, actually. Nothing like that, because I'm enjoying my life.
Okay.
So that's nothing like that specifically. I enjoy being.
Okay. जैसे अभी आपने जैसे खुशबू को बता रहे थे like you have like want to travel जैसे था वो एक चीज है.
Yes, I would love to travel around India and look at the diversity. Like this of India is beautiful. Even though I have been to many places in India, it still inspires me to go to other places. Because I've been to Singapore, I've been to Dubai, but I find them all the same. Jao mall, ghumo, ye karo, aur aa jao. Nothing much major. But in India, if you see, you can see a lot of diversities. Definitely. And with the moment some place, that whether you can speak that language is another hurdle. So, yes. So I like to learn new languages also. So that's my one.
Just out of curiosity, how many languages do you speak, ma'am?
6 to 7.
Okay, name them. Let's name them from 6 to 7. Which you know.
Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati to are common.
Those are 4.
Then,
Yes.
yes, then Marwari, a bit of French, a little of
Okay.
Spanish.
Okay. Wait.
So,
Okay. So
yes.
so you have so altogether like 7 languages.
I love
Okay.
it. I'm telling you, I love to listen to also, like to learn also, like I've heard Kutchi. I can understand it fully, speak a few words when needed. I can immediately immerse. There are different languages that I've heard. Bhojpuri, yes, I can speak a bit of it. Quite a bit. Quick is what I would say.
Definitely not. Okay, so we are entering to the last part of our conversation where we would be asking you 2 or 3 questions. So it's going to be like choose one and leave one. Okay. So I think Khushbhu is here. Yeah, Khushbhu is there. So Khushbhu will start the question. So she'll be asking you 2 questions. I'll be asking you 2 questions. Okay. So you have to choose one and leave the other. All right. Okay. Khushbhu, over to you. Are you there? Yeah. One second. We lost Khushbhu again.
I think you may only have to complete it.
Yeah.
No, we have her. She's back.
So we are moving towards the last round.
Yes. So choose one, give one, that one, leave one.
Okay.
Your camera's
So,
off.
ma'am, we have, yeah. So, am I visible now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry
You're
for the
audible.
interruption. So, ma'am, you have to be very quick with choosing. You don't have like put thought to that. Whatever things comes first to your mind, you have to choose that. So, what would it be? Success or fame?
Success.
Success. Family time or me time?
Family time.
Entrepreneurship or job?
Entrepreneurship. Any day.
Meaning. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Mansoor sir.
Yeah, me too. All right. Sejal ma'am. Chai or coffee?
Try.
Okay. Daughter or son?
Oh no, this this I will not answer. They're equivalent to me. Cross.
Okay, I'll pack that up. So let's say India or abroad?
India. Any day.
India. All right. So we're coming to thank you for answering all our questions. We're coming to the end of our session. So before like I ask Khushbhu to end the session, I have just one last request from you. Okay. Could you say a few 2 or 3 lines in Gujarati for motivating our viewers?
Motivating.
Yeah.
જો પોતામાં એ કોન્ફિડન્સ હોય તો કોઈ જિંદગીમાં તમને આગળ કે પાછળ કરી શકતું નથી. તમે તમારી રીતે જ આગળ વધશો ને બીજાની કોઈની જરૂર પડતી નથી એમાં. જરૂર પડે છે તો માણસોની જે તમને હેલ્પ કરી શકે છે. પણ એનાથી આગળ કઈ જ નહીં.
Thank you. So what is the meaning of it, if you could?
If you are within yourself, you are confident of yourself, you can definitely move forward. You may not need anybody to push you, but you do need people to help you to gain your position. That's it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Over to you, Khushbhu, for the vote of thanks.
These are like the golden words of the day that the viewers will be taking away from this episode.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I know they are very simple, but that's my motto.
Yeah, that's motto, your motto.
Yes.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable views and giving your time to us and to the viewers. And I hope that all the people who will be viewing this episode will gain and understand of importance of being self-made, about entrepreneurship, and will learn from your mottos and struggles and entire journey, and they will feel motivated as you have motivated us right now. So this was it, guys. We'll see you again at the another episode of Coffee Conversation. But before we end this, I would also like to thank for initiating this entire thing to the Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, the Emerging India Forum, and India Business Group Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right,
You.
guys. Thank you. Thank you, Sejal ma'am. Have a nice day. Bye.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye.